Hello, everyone, to the first ever episode of my new podcast. I don't know what I'm doing with this. It's called Feeling Blue with Broc. I've always come on this mic, or I've always tried to start doing podcast stuff, and I'd always get stuck because I'm always just trying to be funny, and I think that was the issue. I think I'm a guy who just loves to have a good time. Um, so what's this podcast gonna be about? Honestly, maybe mental health. So I've been trying to do the comedy podcast, and it's just too much. Like I can't do it by myself. But maybe if I just talk about how I'm feeling, maybe it'll help somebody out there who might be feeling the same thing. Um, so I'm gonna start this off with like doing something about like what makes me feel blue. Um, so I have I have or I had no, I still have I don't know what to talk about with the situation. Like feeling blue is such feeling blue. What it means to me is like feeling down or depressed, just not having a good day. Stress is getting a hold of us. You're gonna feel blue. And I think that's what this podcast is going to be about. What makes us feel blue? Because we don't talk about it. And I think people need to talk about it. So what's making me feel blue? It's so hard to talk about it. It's so hard to talk about it. My stepdad makes me feel blue. And why he makes me feel blue is that he was my stepdad of 28 years of my life. He was my stepfather. And in September, he passed away from lung cancer. And it's been very hard on me. Very hard on me. He was just such a wonderful person. He passed away in September. And I've just not been doing good with it. I've just been holding it in like most people do when they're like really heartbroken. Because we got to get on with our lives. Like, we can't show weakness is what we try to portray in a social situation. Like, the only time, or I did, so we had his funeral in September, I do believe. And it was a rough one because there was issues with the family. I'm not even going to go into that part. I'm just going to talk about what makes me feel blue about it. What makes me feel blue about it is that I spoke at his funeral and I broke down in front of my entire family. I didn't get emotional before the speech. Sorry, this cat's on the table. But anyways, I didn't get emotional before the speech. It was until that moment where I spoke of my true feelings for my stepfather. True feelings. Let me make sense of that. Like, when my biological father died 3 years before, I wasn't as heartbroken, unfortunately, as I am for my stepfather passing as my stepfather. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but I think we should be honest in these podcasts. I think people can learn to be honest to themselves, because if we don't be honest with ourselves, we're going to go crazy. I'm going to this crazy story. Let me stop. So, I was diagnosed with bipolar like when I was 23. From a very early age, you could tell that something was wrong with me. Like, just outbursts, incidents, manic episodes. If you don't know what a manic episode is, it's the craziest thing you ever fucking seen a person do. Like, it's final destination for anybody that's involved with somebody that's manic. Because we will say, as a person who gets manic, it's like how do I describe it? So when you're building up towards a manic episode, it feels like a drug. Or building up. Like, it feels like your stomach's suffocating itself. If that makes any sense. It tightens up. You just get so furious. And then when you release that anger towards anybody, like whether it's yelling, screaming, throwing a fit, it doesn't matter. Like, it's final destination for anybody that's in somebody says that's having an episode. It's the truth. At least for me. Like, my experiences with being involved in the mental health community. But anyways, I got diagnosed. I've been on meds for the last 6 years. There was a period of time where I was on meds. When I first got diagnosed, I got on meds, but I felt like a lab rat. I didn't like my doctor. I felt like she wouldn't listen to me when I was telling her the side effects I had. So I got so mad. I had such a manic episode. Go back to manic episodes and explain the situation where I had a manic episode. I was in a doctor's office, and it was about a year or two in, maybe 3. This is all a blur for me, because these meds I was on was making me so bad. I gotta blow my nose. Sorry, guys. I always say it's good to let it out. The cries, not the nose. But I had an incident where, like, 3 years into the testing out my meds, that this doctor, my first doctor I ever gave, I don't remember her name. Actually, I kind of do, but I don't want to say it. So I felt like a lab rat. How do I explain this?
She got me so worked up because she wasn't listening to me a week or every 3 months. That's like when you see your doctor, they make they check up on you every 3 months, like clockwork. Like they want to know how you're doing on those meds. At least most doctors do, because they truly want to help. There's some wonderful doctors out there. Don't be afraid to get help. If you're having just I don't know, if you're feeling blue, it's never not it's always okay to ask for help. You're not alone. Trust me. Trust me. So I blew up on her one day, like blew up, like screamed, yelled, told her that I'm tired of feeling like a lab rat and that she's treating me like one and she doesn't listen to anything I say. And I stormed out. I just walked out. My mom had to chase me down. Yeah. And I was off meds for like 4 years. And then I met an ex. I met an ex. She we dated. And she helped me by the end of our relationship, because that ended real quick. I think it lasted 3 months, maybe. 3 months. But God bless her soul. She dealt with so much. She saw episodes. I'm not going to get into that right now. Maybe a later time. But anyways, to sum up that part of the story, when we broke up, she helped me realize that I need to get back on my meds. And I did. For 6 years. 6 years. I've been on meds. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Because there are side effects. But you tell your doctor they'll lower the dosage or higher the dosage or maybe, talk with you. God bless the doctor I have now. He was a saint. I've had him for 6 years and now he's retiring and I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I don't want a new doctor. It's been going well. I've been, but that explains my bipolar era. Or still bipolar, but my mental health, I should say. Just issues with that. But anyways, about my stepdad, I got emotional during the speech. But I meant everything I said. He was such a good stepdad or stepfather or whatever you want to call it. He wasn't, the easiest guy to talk to. But what he said was important. He didn't say many words or say much sometimes, but whatever he said, meant something. Whether it was good or bad. Whether it was good or bad. He he was a great stepfather, stepdad. He's the one who taught me how to golf. It's one of my favorite things to do. We didn't get to do it much the last 4 years because of COVID and that stupid shit. And then he got sick. They gave us, I can't remember. I think it was 3 years. I don't know. That's what I was told. And I think we got 3 or 4 months. Me and him, towards the end, had
the most emotional moment in my life. Hands down. Like, I never cried so hard before. Because as I was leaving, the hospital to say goodbye, I gave him a big old hug. And I told him I loved him. That was the first time I ever said that to him. It was the first time I ever said it to him. And then he replied that he loved me too. And that was the first time he ever said that to me. And in that moment, so much weight was like lifted off my shoulder. Oh. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize this podcast would be this hard. But I'm glad I'm like talking about this shit because I've just held so much in for so long. Because like I said earlier, you feel like you gotta like stay solid for people, family, friends. When in reality, your whole life is crushing around you and nobody's there to listen to you. And I felt that way most of my life. Like, nobody listens. I know people do. But that's just the part of bipolar. Like, if you've ever met anybody or you are bipolar, any experiences, like, it's hard. It's really hard to live with, to live. For years, I stayed in my house. I missed... After my first stint with meds, actually, like, right after I started taking meds, I was so depressed. Like, I missed so many family funerals, birthdays, parties, everything. I didn't talk to anybody. I left my house once a month for appointments, if that. I've been banned for multiple medical facilities because I never showed up. Because I would get so much anxiety before we'd go. I just wouldn't go. I would no-show. And you can't no-show. Especially when you're on Medicaid. As a child or as a young adult, you can't no-show your shit, man. For anybody out there struggling, don't no-show because you never know when you need that help. You don't want to give yourself very thin options. Don't do it. It's not worth it. If your doctor's not working out, talk to somebody else there. See if you can switch doctors. Just don't ruin it for yourself, Don't sabotage is what I'm trying to say. And that tends to be a part of the manic episode ritual, is that you try to self-sabotage everything. Because in reality, sometimes you don't feel like you deserve anything. Like it should just all be burned to the ground and you should be shunned to non-existence. Like, people go through that. I've gone through that. I don't know if this podcast is going to help anybody. This is going 19 minutes long. This is a lot longer than I thought it would be. I'm a lot more emotional than I thought it would be. Just thought it'd be a cool idea to talk about mental health. Because it doesn't get talked about enough. It just gets shoved underground. We get treated like freaks sometimes. It's not fair. Nobody should be treated like a freak, no matter who you are.
I'm sorry if you guys thought this is going to be like a happy podcast. I just want people to know that they're not alone. For so much part of this mental health, you just feel alone. And you're not. So many people deal with depression. So many people are sad. So many people are lonely. Just live life. Live life. Honestly, guys, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I need to go to bed. If you guys are still listening, thank you. This was the first episode of Feeling Blue with Broc. Thank you, everybody who might be watching, who are watching. Just know you're not by yourself, okay? Peace out.